How do you save time in the gym, but still get great results? Many athletes and coaches are tight on time schedules and only have 45 minutes to an hour tops for their strength and conditioning training. Today's 6 major tips and one common mistake to avoid will allow you to adapt any training program to shorter time constraints. The number one time saver is using opposing and non-related muscle group supersets. We did just release an entire video on supersets, so you can check that out in the card above for more specifics. Supersets allow you to do more exercises in less time while not sacrificing results. You take 2 to 3 exercises that don't work similar muscle groups, and you pair them together with less rest in between because the muscle groups of one exercise are resting while you train the other lift. A common example is pairing a bench press with a pull-up. Instead of doing 5 sets of bench, then 5 sets of pull-ups, you're going to do bench press, then maybe 30 seconds rest, pull-ups, 30 seconds rest, and repeat for your desired number of sets. Speed and power is crucial in nearly every sport. Focusing on bar speed more than weight can be a great time saver. This is using a method called compensatory acceleration. You try to move the weight as fast as you can throughout the entire lift, and not just coast when things get easier. I will be doing a full video on this technique and benefits in the near future, but this saves time because your squat workout could be like 6 sets of 3 at 75% instead of 5 sets of 5 at 85%. There's less weight on the bar, and you aren't training that close to failure. This allows for shorter rest periods or more superset pairs. Now, the weight still needs to be moderately heavy, like between 70 and 80%. You're just focusing on maximal intent for each rep. Lift like it's your max and move it faster. One word of caution is to only apply this to the concentric or rising portion of the lift. Stay under control and in good position on the lowering part. However, once you reverse it, explode through the lift. Choose exercises that lend themselves to quicker warm-up and clean-up times. Doing heavy squats for a strong athlete takes a fair bit of time just to warm up for and add and take off plate. Using exercises that minimize that but still give great results can be a big time saver. Doing Bulgarian split squats over back squats, RDLs over deadlifts, weighted push-ups or dumbbell bench over bench press, etc. Just make sure the lift you pick still gives the intended training effect. It should still be a stable compound movement that allows for a lot of force to be produced. Dumbbells in general take much less time than barbell work, and unless you need to be ridiculously strong, are almost always a great alternative. Now, if you're an offensive lineman or a shot putter and your gym only has 100-pound dumbbells, you might not be able to use this method forever. At some point, barbell movements are likely going to need to be your main training modality. I point this out just to show that this isn't applicable in every athlete for every situation and every exercise. However, utilize what you have to the best of your ability to maximize your time. Don't use too many exercises. You don't need 3 exercises for your chest and triceps. If you are bench pressing that day, bench press. Do 6 to 8 sets in that one exercise, which limits warm-up time, cleanup time, and just the overall amount of time switching and moving around. Too many exercises is also just a big problem with many training plans. Find your groove and hammer out quality sets. I've done plenty of workouts where I'll do 8 sets of one exercise, or very close variations like 5 sets of bench straight into 5 sets of close grip. For many athletes, not just those looking to save time, this can provide a serious boost to your strength. Make sure to set a timer for your rest periods. Don't guess. You need to have quick, efficient workouts and can't accidentally take 3 minutes rest after a set. However, you also want to make sure that you take enough rest and not just hurry. Quality work is still more important than more work. Taking 30 seconds rest between heavy sets of back squats is likely a bad idea. That's such a taxing lift that while you might get your work done quickly, you're not going to have quality sets. You're going to have to reduce the weight substantially compared to taking a more appropriate rest break, where you can do multiple hard sets of effort. Utilize rest periods to keep you on track, but make sure your work is still high quality. The last tip before a big mistake to avoid is plan everything out. This is more applicable to a team setting and not just an individual going to the gym on their own. Every athlete and coach needs to know where they belong and what they are doing. Which group is starting at the squat rack? Which group on the benches? Where are we warming up, etc. This limits chaos and time spent not training. Now, there's one major mistake you want to avoid when trying to save time, and that's turning things into a circuit. Circuit training is almost never appropriate for an athlete unless it is specifically used for some sort of moderate conditioning. The problem with, say, doing 5 rounds of a bunch of exercises is that completely misses the point of the weight room and strength and conditioning in general. You can see my video on why strength and conditioning actually works in the card above. Basically, if you're doing a circuit, you aren't going to be able to overload anything, except the cardiovascular system. They are a terrible way to build speed, power, or strength because those qualities need high absolute forces and speeds. You need all-out sprints with full recovery, or heavy sets of 5 in the squat or bench, etc., with full or nearly full rest. Doing 10 squats, 10 benches, 10 rows, 10 RDLs isn't going to allow you to overload any system. The only thing that will happen is you'll get tired. It'll feel like a good workout, but nothing productive will have been done. We do have a series on building a training program from the ground up, so you can see how I recommend structuring a training day, week, month, and progressing or adapting that over time. These tips are meant to be applied on top of that, as in take your normal workout, but make sure you're supersetting exercises, focusing more on bar speed than absolute weight, or choosing exercises intelligently to maximize time. These tips aren't how you build a program, but how you can adapt a good program to get great results, even if you have to reduce time in the gym. Please share this with any athletes or coaches who need to get maximal results in minimal time. Comment any time-saving hacks that I missed, and subscribe to the Immortal Power channel.